Hey guys, this is Abdullah here, and I finally decided to give you a walkthrough of my rig. It's my first ever water cooling build, and even if I have to say it myself, it has the least flaws in it, but still it's far from perfect. I'm sure the veteran out there will pick one or two things out. Anyway, so let's begin with the side panel. It's a custom side panel. The Cosmos 2 never comes with a window. There's only one chap in England from Wales. His name is Tom, and he, I think, owns chilledpc.co.uk. He's the only guy who cuts this window out. I mean, I think hundreds every month, because if you go on his website, you will see so many people sending their side panel to him. He also sells pre-cut side panels for the Cosmos 2. Anyway, I sent it to him myself and received it in a matter of 3 to 4 days. I didn't have the guts to cut this window out because this is the only thing through which you can see the innards of the computer, all the things that you've built, and I didn't want to make it look ugly. Anyway, let's open the side panel. I've switched the computer on without any of the external components plugged in for the sake of this video. Anyway, so that's it. Let's start from the reservoir, because well, the water goes out of the reservoir and comes back to it again, so we have to start somewhere. So this is the Aqua Computer glass reservoir. It hasn't got any screws. I mean, it doesn't screw on to the top and the bottom because it's glass. It has grommets on the bottom and the top, and the plastics also on both sides, and the metal pipe that you go in between is what holds both of them together, because it screws onto them. Anyway, it's a multi-port one. It's got about 3 or 4 ports on top, and it's got 3 ports at the bottom. I'm using one of the 3 to connect the RAS with the pump adapter and the pump. Now, I could have attached this pump adapter with the RAS, but the problem is the pump generates a little vibration, and I didn't want that to go to the whole computer case, because oops, that was the fan there, got my finger, because I could just put the adapter and the pump on top of 4 rubber grommets, which actually dissipates all the vibration. Anyway, so you've got the water in the res, and then the pump pulls the water from the res into the adapter, and then it pumps it out back through one of its outlets. So it goes to the back of the computer, because I try to keep as less pipes, should I say tubings, inside the rig to make it look clean and neat. So that goes to the back. Water gets pulled from there by the pump and adapter, goes to the back. Let's go around the back. And this is the tube that you saw that came from the adapter. Then it goes to one of the 2 radiators that I have in this rig. The bottom one is a monster red. It's 80 millimeters thick and 240 millimeter long. Now, this tube goes to one of the ports, and the fluid goes around in the reservoir. In the radiator. The fan cools the water, and then it goes to the very first component in the loop, which is my second graphics card. So this is the tube that goes from the same radiator, goes to the bottom graphics card, the secondary graphics card, goes into the block, goes around, then through this link, goes to the primary graphics card, goes around and in the block, then goes to the CPU block. Now, from the CPU block, it goes to the top radiator, which is a cross flow, meaning both ports are not on one side. One is on this side, the other one is on the other side, so it doesn't go around. It's just one pass, goes to the other end. It's a 360 millimeter radiator. It's quite a thin one, not as thick as the monster. And then from the top radiator, it goes back to the reservoir again. Now, as you can see, I've got 4 links that I've connected to the inlet, so that the pipe stays underwater all the time, because I didn't want all this air to get reintroduced to the loop. That's a custom thing I had to make, because before I did the stupidity of not adding that, and every time I switch the computer off, all the water from the top radiator would come into this, and this air will go back to the radiator again. So that was that sorted. So the bottom radiator is being cooled by 4 Noctua fans in push-pull configuration, but the top one is being cooled by only 3 in pull only. As you can see, there's 1, 2, and half of it under there, but it doesn't matter because it's got fans under there. The air still comes out. Anyway, in this rig, I am using the Corsair braided cables. I did not braid them myself. I bought them because they're readily available, and if I had done it myself, I don't think it would have been any nicer than this. Probably a little bit, but you know, I didn't think it was worth it. The CPU block I'm using here, as you can see, is a XSPC Rare Storm. I put some red carbon vinyl on it because to add to the rest of the red theme in there, but I think I'll be taking that off sometime because XSPC has started to sell a red plate anyway, so I'll just replace it next time I need to replace any component from that, which is, I don't think, too long, because the next generation of graphics cards coming out, these have to come out anyway. At the bottom I've got the AX1200 power supply, which is enough, more than enough for the setup I have. I was thinking about going tri-SLI, but then realized, you know, I haven't got enough space for another radiator. There's no way I'm going to add another graphics card, another heat producing component, without putting something more to cool it down. And I had previously a 850 watt power supply, which is enough for the setup I have now. So this is just sitting there with the extra power, not doing anything. Never mind. I've got some red LED fans in the front, because when I close the case down, it gives a nice red glow inside, and I don't want the LEDs to show. That's why I did not put a LED fan at the back. Just put a normal Corsair one with the red ring around it. And this case, the whole rig is actually what shall I say, actively lit. Light does not fall on any of these components. All the components are lit themselves. For example, this we all know, everybody that knows the XSPC Rare Storm, they know that, you know, you've got 2 holes on both sides, sorry, 4 holes on each side to put LEDs in, and I'm using just 2. So when you turn off external lights, the whole block glows red without you seeing where the light's coming from. And also this reservoir I'm using, it holds 6 LEDs at the bottom, which makes the whole res shine red when external lights turned off. And these 2 fans that you can see, when the side is closed, you can't see them anyway. Okay. So, okay, yeah, the other thing about water cooling I wanted to add is, you will hear people say, oh, before every heat producing component you have to have a radiator to cool the water down before it goes to them. This is actually an utter lie, because to some it might sound like, yeah, it makes sense, but it doesn't. As long as you've got the pump and pump adapter right after the reservoir, everything is where the order of components doesn't matter at all. Me being a newbie telling you this, because if you ask any veteran or watch any other YouTube video where the big veterans have built water cooling rigs, you will see and you will hear them say the exact same thing. It doesn't make any difference. Even the EK's website would tell you there's an order, you have to have a radiator before it goes to the res and stuff, and some people will argue with you because EK says it, so yes, it has to be it. But do you know what? It's not. As long as you have the res before the pump, everything else is fine. And the reason behind it is because, unlike, let me give you an example. When we suck drink from a glass with a straw, what we do is we create a vacuum in our mouth and we suck the drink. That way, the vacuum that's created in our mouth, it has to be replaced with the drink that comes from the glass. But the thing with this pump is completely different, because it doesn't create any vacuum. It has a big space inside and a fan, an impeller, it spins inside, which can shift liquid from one side to the other. Meaning, if you have water here and you've got some air there, this water is not automatically going to come in here, because there's no way it can suck the water in. It will be just running dry and causing harm to the pump itself. It has to have liquid, and as soon as it has liquid, it can just shift it from one side to the other, filling the whole loop. So that's it. I'm just telling you again, where your components are in the loop doesn't make any difference whatsoever. As long as you have the pump right after the reservoir, everything is fine. Yes, if you had a radiator before every single component, heat producing component, yes, probably that would give you, say, a temperature drop of 0.5 degree or 1, maximum 2. That's nothing. Once the system stabilizes after 10 minutes of use, the temperature stabilizes as well. It just stays constant, the same temperature. So this is actually the main fact of water cooling. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This is my first ever water cooling rig. I hope you guys liked it. If you see any flaws in it, please let me know. Thank you.